Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
As always, the Ramble is sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. If you're a growing business and you want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. Thank you for joining the team for their continued support for the Ramble. Today's Ramble is sponsored by Wellstoned Landscapes. From lawn to luxury, creating outdoor elegance. Wellstoned Landscapes covers most areas of Yorkshire. If you mention the Ramble when asking for a quote, you'll receive 10% off any work. Call Paul or find him on Facebook in the details below. What is happening, Blades? Long time no see for some of you. Yes, you've already seen me this afternoon. I am back again. This time we're here for the warm-up. I am, of course, Jimmy, and thank you for joining me as we get prepared for a really tricky trip. Easy for me to say. Tricky trip to QPR, Loftus Road as we know it. It's something like the Matrade Loftus Road Stadium. But these are no mugs. These are no mugs. They're a good side, QPR. They've tailed off a little bit recently in the last couple of games, but a good side, but a brilliant opportunity for us. If you didn't see earlier, I was on this morning doing the day after Tuesday. We got the final bits of the Leeds game out of our system, or I certainly did anyway. And thank you to everybody that joined me on both that stream and the bumper edition of 90 after 90. It's quite cathartic, isn't it, to come on and share our sort of disappointment, is fair to say, but also try and reflect on the positivity of the result and the game as a whole, really, rather than just a result, should I say. So, plenty of positives to take out of that game. I'll be honest, I've been laser focused on that Leeds game for so long. I took my eye off the ball with QPR, so I need to know a little bit more about it. Now, I have released these as separate rambles, if you like, on Behind the Ramble, but the first thing I'm going to show you today is the QPR rundown from some QPR fans. So hopefully you'll enjoy this.
After the horrors of the last couple of years at QPR, the aim this year really was just to progress into mid-table, to bed in new signings. We made 10 new signings over the summer, coming into a team that had been losing basically every week for 2.5 years under 4 different managers. So aims were pretty meagre this year. Can we get to Easter not panicking about other people's result? To look at us now with about a dozen games left, we're basically parring that course. It's felt like a weird season. If you'd asked me at the end of sort of October, November, I'd be like, well, you know, we've been circling the drain in the Championship for a while. This is it. We're probably going to go now. Bottom of the league, 5 points adrift. So to get from there to where we are, it's been, you know, a fun and exciting winter. You won't hear many QPR fans, any QPR fans really, with a bad word to say about Marty Cifuentes. He's very well respected and well liked by the fan base. So much so that when we did go on that run of 13 games without a win, the last one of those at home to Stoke, who were obviously a poor side, and we were lucky to get a 1-1 draw in that, and it felt like the club were about to maybe ditch Cifuentes at that point, but the fans sang his name all the way through the second half, made it very, very clear that, you know, the problems with the team at that stage were recruitment and injuries, neither of which were his fault. The best thing about Cifuentes since he's come in is that he's pragmatic and he just works with what he's got. We started this year perhaps a little bit arrogantly, because we'd ended last season so well. We had more FFP headroom in the summer. We were like, we won't have that Ainsworth start weighing us down. There was sort of optimism that maybe we could push on into the top half of the table, and we started the season with 3 midget 10s behind a striker and a super high press, and then as soon as you broke through that, you basically had 80 yards of free field, people just walking through the midfield, and you don't win many games of football losing midfield, right? We've got back into things basically by stodging up the midfield, going to a sort of 4-3-3 with this tight, narrow mid-block midfield. We got a kid in the summer from Tottenham called Kieran Morgan, who was basically a development squad signing. I don't think anybody expects him to play first team football this year. And he just through running and tackling and heading, doing the hard yards, got a good engine, good legs. And that made just the difference because teams weren't walking through our midfield anymore. What we're starting to do now, sort of safe in mid-table, not making the playoffs, not getting relegated, is we're trying to open it up a little bit more. We're trying to go more to 4-2-3-1. We're trying with the three tiny boys behind the striker again, and at home it's producing some good results and good performances. You'll know with the team selection basically, because if Kieran Morgan's playing, that basically means they're going a bit sort of pragmatic and stodgy, and if he's not, if it's sort of Field and Varane or Field and Colback or someone like that as a 2 with then 3 behind Frey, then we're going more open, more attacking. The answer to this for years and years, the biggest threat in the side has been Ilias Chair, right? He's been the best player at QPR for so long, and we're kind of surprised he's still here. Obviously, he had the criminal case, which probably put potential buyers off. This year he's had a really bad one with injury for the first time in his career so far. He had a back injury which kept him out of all of pre-season and the start of the season. He then came back and got a knee injury, so he's had no pre-season, no football really. He came back a bit heavy. The last couple of home games against Blackburn and Derby, he scored 2 against Derby. He hadn't scored for 20 games before then, which is the longest run in his career. So just the hint that he's coming back to form. But I guess the form player at the moment really has come on strong since Christmas is a Japanese winger called Koki Saito. He's got this interesting dribbling technique which it doesn't look like it should work, but it does. And he's sort of like Steve Guppy, if you remember. He used to play for Leicester. It's like he's got one trick and you know what he's going to do, but it's a really, really good trick, so it's about stopping it. And weirdly, like most touches in the opposition box, I think most headers won in the opposition box, most efforts on goal this year is actually Jimmy Dunn, the right back that you guys tried to buy. Big threat at set pieces, Jimmy, like 6'4" right back, charging up and down the right side there. Teams have got a little bit wise to it, and there's been a lot of wrestling and blocking in the box, certainly at Coventry recently it was like that, so he hasn't scored for a few games now, but he's had a great season. The weak link, I guess, it's that midfield that I've talked about there. As soon as we open up, we take Morgan out and try to go with 2 midfielders so we can play more 10s. As soon as we open that midfield up, teams tend to walk through us. Sam Field has been a stalwart for the team for a long time and is a good, steady, reliable player. He's not playing particularly well at the moment. He's playing next to a lad, Jonathan Varane, who we got in the summer, who is improving and I think has all the capabilities to go on and be a real asset for us, but is very rocks and diamonds at the moment. Like one week you see him in a game and you're just like, wow, what have we got here? And then the next week he plays like he played at Portsmouth at the weekend. You know, that midfield is much better when it has Morgan in there as a third man. You know, the difference between the parachute payment teams and the rest of us is the strikers. We're making our way through the season with Michi Frey, Zan Seller, a summer signing who's got a hamstring injury at the moment, so won't be playing at the weekend. But, you know, he scored 2 in his first 20 games, missed penalties and you know, has had a really tough start. And apart from that, you know, once you scratch below the surface of those 2 strikers, we're picking kids. We just don't have that prolific goal scorer, enough goals in the team to push on from where we are now towards playoffs, really. As a non-parachute payment team in the Championship, looking at the Sheffield United team that's coming here, I mean, I laughed so hard when Chris Wilder, who I like, by the way, was my first manager on local newspapers, actually, Chris Wilder, when he was at Alfreton. So, a lot of time for the guy. But when you lost 3-0 to Hull and he was talking about being down to the bare bones and the results been coming for ages in a game when you brought Brewster, Campbell, Vinicius Souza, Raksaki off the bench. Like, all 4 of those would be the best player in the QPR team. Like, and certainly those strikers are far better than any striker we've got. Kiefer Moore, Ben Brereton Diaz. Like, it's a ridiculous sort of situation. The parachute, the haves and the have-nots in this division. So I don't know about weaknesses, but the stark difference between, you know, your strikers and what you've got to pick from up front versus us trying to get through a season with Michy Frey and Zancella covered by Ryan Colley and Alfie Lloyd. It's stark, really. It's sort of like, it's cup tie levels of difference. We may as well go for it. We may as well give it a go. Like, we're mid-table, not going up, not going down. You know, there's no point in playing for draws or whatever. So let's take a swing at it. I mean, if you nail me to the wall, you know, optimistically, maybe we can get a draw out of it. I don't think we've had a draw for 10 or 11 games. So maybe that's my prediction. But I don't like giving predictions, to be honest. Social. I mean, the website's loveforwords.co.uk and our socials on everywhere, like Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, and evil Twitter is always just at Love for Words. I suspect we'll finish in our hallowed position of 16th, which, you know, we love. So that's our natural habitat. We're a little bit above that at the moment, but our run-in is tough. Like, I would expect us to drop off quite dramatically through March because we play you guys. Then we have a horrible week where we're away at West Brom Saturday, away at Middlesbrough Tuesday, and then at home to Leeds early game Saturday. That doesn't smell like a lot of points to me. And then we've got some okay fixtures after that, but we finish with Burnley at home and Sunderland away. So I suspect we'll regress to the mean a little bit and finish 16th. Sheffield United, I mean, unfortunately, I was hoping you guys were going to do Leeds on Monday, but I just think Leeds. I said Leeds at the start of the year are going to win the league, and I think they are. They're just too good, sadly, because I hate them. So then you're playing for second, I guess, and of the three teams, Sunderland seems to have dropped away. I fancy Sheffield United much more than Burnley, simply because I cannot abide Scott Parker's football. I find it unwatchable, and, you know, I know Gary Weaver keeps shouting about what Burnley are doing is extraordinary, but like, could you watch that every week? Trying to 0-0 your way up. You know, so I hope it's Sheffield United, and I think it will be, just because there's goals in the Sheffield United team in a way that there aren't in the Burnley team. So yeah, if you nailed me to the wall, then I'm terrible at predictions. Probably Sheffield United to sneak the second spot.
Thank you to Clive for his support with that. Love for Words, if you want to check those boys out, much appreciated. I hope you're not that far off with predictions, to be honest, if you're predicting us to come second, but we shall see. We shall see. Right, let's jump into some comments then, because again, we're not here for a long time, but we're full-time rambling now, aren't we? So we can stay on a little bit longer. I'm on at 8 on one Leeds because I'm off for Battle Lines. I've got to go face the music over there, unfortunately. Nige says, evening, Jimmy and Blades Ramble crew. Huge game against QPR. They aren't a walkover. They've been getting some very good results. They've been a surprise this season, but I think they'll have the quality to see it. No, through. There we go. 2-0 Blades. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Nige. Appreciate that, pal. Hope you're doing okay. David says, just been watching Connor and what's his name, Bobby Brown, going on about how much we've spent on Cannon compared to them. Sometimes there's just no sense at all there over on that channel, but, you know, hopefully we can go and right that wrong in less than an hour or so. David says, yes, 6K, brilliant, Jimmy. Up all the Rambles, up the Blades, bouncing for you. Like and subscribe, hit the like, please. Thank you, David. I have to say, I'm absolutely overwhelmed. We are, yes, 6,000, over 6,000 subs now, which is huge for the channel. Full-time rambling looks like it's paying off. Thank you to everybody for your support. Subscribing costs you nothing, but I appreciate you have to like what you're seeing to be able to click that subscribe button. So it's a huge compliment to myself and everybody that helps out on the Ramble, because I know I do all the editing and behind the scenes stuff, but we now have people come on and share their opinion as well, who I think are very good, very knowledgeable. We've started the Ramble on the road, putting a lot more shows out, making myself very busy, but I'm loving it. Absolutely loving every bit of it. I can't complain one bit. Like last night's 90 after 90 was the Blades. We've been beaten by the champions. I think that's what it is. You can't see because it comment on screen, but beaten by the champions. I think we probably have been, if we're right, but that did over 10,000 views to date. It may have done more than that now, to be honest, but that is the biggest viewership numbers we've had. So that is incredible for the channel to be getting those sort of numbers. In terms of what we've got coming up, I may for the first. I mean, I had half a day off on Sunday, but I may get a day off tomorrow. It depends when Wilder does his presser, because I'll be back for hot off the presser either tomorrow morning or Friday morning. So we shall see. Whenever he's doing his presser, we will be there. We'll be watching the presser live, and then we'll be coming on straight away to give you the full rundown of what's going off. Next up, you'll see us at Saturday at 12:15 for a Rivals watch along on Behind the Ramble. Before we play QPR at Loftus Road, I'll be going to Andy the Blade's place to be watching that game, and then I'll be straight back here. And 5 o'clock-ish, we'll be back for 90 after 90, following what is now a really important game for Sheffield United. Chance to move 5 points clear of QPR, of Burnley, sorry. There you go, that shows, doesn't it? Yeah, huge now. So thank you, David, and thank you to everybody for your congratulations. Hello, Jim says no Piro, no party. Harry says, hi, Jim, pretty much moved on from that game on Monday. Good. I would love to see Holding start, me too. No shame on Robbo, who has been decent, but I don't think he's good enough for a top 2 team. 2-1 Blades, cannon with both, up all the rambles. Phil says, hi Jimmy. My team for QPR, Cooper, Clark, Burrows, Holding, Anel, Sousa, Peck, Hamer, O'Hare, Raksaki, and Cannon. Plus, we have a strong bench up the full-time Ramble. Thank you, Pat. Okay, that's interesting. I'm not sure Clark will be fit. We don't know his status, and we probably won't know until Wilder's press conference. And saying that, we probably won't know even then, because he's likes to keep things close to his chest until, let's be right. So, since you're giving your team, I'm going to give you mine. This is Born to be Wild. Born to be wild.
Tell.
So this is Born to be Wilder, and this is my team that I'm taking down to QPR to bring back 3 points from Loftus Road, or the Madrid, Loftus Road, whatever it's called at the moment, from QPR. Starting off in goal, as always, Mr. Reliable. He'll have been disappointed with the third goal, as we've talked about, against Leeds United. But Michael Cooper, still the best goalkeeper in the Championship. No doubt in my mind. Would not swap him for anybody, and he starts off between the sticks. Right back, I'm going Hamza Chowdhury. Thought he did really well when he came on. We don't know the extent of Clark's injury. We've talked about Alfie Gilchrist being injured at the moment as well. We're not entirely sure of Femi Sariki's situation at the moment. So with that in mind, I thought Hamza Chowdhury did an admirable job at right back. He has played there for Leicester as well, so it's not completely out of his comfort zone or out of his depth. I think he did a good job there, and I'm happy with him being in this side at right back. I'm starting Rob Holding. I am playing my best team that I can put out here. I'm starting with Rob Holding. I've given my reasons prior to this, and ultimately, I just think this is the best defensive pairing. So Rob Holding starts, and alongside him is Anel Ahmedhodzic on the left-hand side of defence. I think Anel has played very well recently, and he has been rewarded with a couple of goals now, which sees him in his old, hopefully, Championship vein of form. But I actually think he'll be even better with somebody like Rob Holding next to him. And that's just my personal opinion. I'm happy to take your comments down below if you completely disagree with me. And it is harsh on Jack Robinson, there's no doubt about it, but I'm going with the players I think make our best 11. Harrison Burrows as left back. May have been disappointed, certainly with the last 20 minutes. I thought Dan James, who is one of the form players in the league at the moment, it has to be said, but I thought Dan James had him on toast a little bit, as is the insane, isn't it? But he is rapid, and I'm not sure anybody really can keep up with him. But I still think he is the best left back in this league. I'm delighted that we've got him, and he starts and completes my defence. In centre midfield, 2 lads who can hold their head high. Starting off with the destroyer, I thought it was the man of the match against Leeds United. Absolutely superb performance from Vinny Sousa. He's going to control the middle of the park for us, hopefully, in this game against QPR. And he's going to be partnered by Siddy Peck, who complements him really nicely, I think, can go box to box. Looked a bit tired as the game went on. I was surprised that he wasn't the one brought off for Tom Davies. But again, we've got that option now from the bench, haven't we, to bring somebody like Tom Davies on to replace a Siddy Peck, and the quality doesn't drop off significantly. So options are there. The squad's looking better. And in front of them, this is a really difficult decision, actually, because I thought Ben Burton Diaz played well. Probably his best game in a Blades shirt against Leeds United until he started to fade. I'm bringing Gus Hamer back because I think he's our best player. I thought it was disappointing, as we've talked about again, against Leeds United. But ultimately, he's the one player that can change a game in an instant. He gives us a spark that no other player can offer us. Gus Hamer has to start when fit. and he's in my 11. Next to him is Callum O'Hare, who does all of the running in this side. Unbelievable engine on this kid, but how does he keep going? The press that this man forces, and he was a big part of our success early on against Leeds, played well, Callum O'Hare. He's definitely in my side, probably the most improved Blades player this season. And on the right, I'm sticking with Jezrin Raksaki. I'm hoping for more out of him in terms of his defensive duties. I think he did leave us exposed in the first half, but what he offers us going forward, and QPR, I don't expect to pose as the same level of threat as Leeds United did. What Jez can offer you going forward is starting to show a little bit more now, and his end product is coming. He certainly needs to work on that defensive side of his game because we were exposed against Leeds, and I think that's one of the reasons he got dragged eventually. But I am excited with what he can offer us going forward. I think he must terrify you if you're a fullback and he's running at you. And up front, I thought he had a really good game. Tyrese Campbell comes back into this side. It's great that we've got so many options now up top. I'm not convinced that Wilder starts with Tyrese, but I think he did enough to keep the shirt. We've also got great options in Tom Cannon and Kiefer Moore now coming off the bench. So we could well mix this up and go 2 up top. I think that would be harsh on Callum O'Hare personally, but I'm sticking with Tyrese Campbell as the lone striker in our current system. But I could also entertain arguments for both Tom Cannon coming in, who I think has been unfairly criticised by some, and Kiefer Moore, who I think will be a real strong player for us in the last 10 to 12 games of the season. So this is my team, and I really like the look of it. I think it's probably the strongest team we can put out with our current fitness concerns. But let me know what you think. I'm sure some will disagree with the Robinson call. Some may disagree with the striker call. Some may want Ben Brereton Diaz in because it's harsh to take him out after a good performance against Leeds. I understand it all, but this is just my opinion on what my team would be. If you have anything different, then I'm happy to take those opinions either. If you think anything different, I'm happy to take your comments on that. But for now, that was Born to be Wilder.
Born to be wild.
Tell.
Born to be Wilder. Yeah, so let me know what you think. Let me know what you think to that team. I recorded that yesterday. So I was just watching and thinking, do I still agree with myself there? Because it's out as its own separate video on Behind the Ramble, as I said. But yeah, I'm good with that. I think that's all right. I'm still in the same head. I didn't know whether I'd changed my thought process. Nige says, oh yeah, we'd read that bit, haven't we, as the finish to the other comment. Congrats on 6K, Jimmy. Same team as Monday with Hamza at right back. Is that same as me? No, you've kept Robbo in. Fair enough, Luke. Fair dues. And thank you from the earlier stream. I appreciate it any time, pal. Hope you're okay. Brand says, evening, Jimmy. Absolute must win on Saturday. If we don't, we're in big trouble. We have to play our best team. Holding in. Same for me, pal. Same for me. Andrew says, massive game at the weekend. Just got to take 3 points. Performance not important, just the points this weekend. That's true. I think we'll get a performance, though. I think we will. Liam says, evening, pal. Hope you're well. We see a strong lineup. We see a strong lineup on Saturday. I hope Hamer is fit to start. I think Cannon is going to get off the mark for us. Be interesting who plays right back. I'm hoping Sariki is fit soon. Up the Blades. Up the Ramble, please like and subscribe. Thank you, pal. Yeah, I'm not sure. We've heard very little about Femi, haven't we? So I don't know whether, again, Wilder might tell us different. I would expect after a reasonable time layoff, I'd be surprised if he starts. So I'm not expecting Sariki to start. If Clark's not fit, it's going to be Chowdhury, I think. Wayne says, evening, everybody. Hard trip to QPR. My concern now is bookings mounting up for Vinny, Anel, and City, all getting close to suspensions we could do without. Are they? I don't know what the numbers are on that. If you want to let me know, Wayne, then I thought we were past that point, to be honest. Matthew says, evening, Jimmy. Firstly, enjoyed your Behind the Ramble video the other day about how you got started. Really honest and humble video, and you deserve the success of the work you've put into the channel. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate that. In regards to, we were just for the context around that, I've put a video out on Behind the Ramble, which just explains more why. I think I titled it How I Became a Full-Time Content Creator. It's more why than anything else, but also a little bit about my backup plan and how there'll be more content like that coming. Maybe tomorrow, because I've not in the diary for tomorrow as yet, so we'll see, unless Wilder does his presser tomorrow. So thank you, Matthew. He also says, in regards to the last game, we look like a side who just don't know how to kill teams off. All well and good scraping 1-0s, but we got truly found out on Monday. Need to utilise the talent we... no, can't see any other bit from it. We need to utilise our talent. Jim, what's backtracking you've got playing on the opposition view and on the video from Bramall Lane with Connor? It sounds a banger. Awesome content as always. What's backing? What's the backing track? Oh, right. Okay. That is Heebie Jeebies by Matilda Shakes. Shout out to Matilda Shakes. Been with the channel from almost day dot. So shout out to them. Top lads. And yeah, we're growing together, mate, and pleased to see it. Seeing Jimmy more over the last 24 hours than our last. Andrew, sorry, pal. David says, can't wait for Battle Lions. Bet it's Conor Big B's, not Donna McGilligan from his other channel. I bet so and all, David. I bet so. Josh says, thoughts on Brooks not getting a look in for months. Surely we see him coming on for the last 20 soon. He wasn't even on the bench, were he, Josh? I'm not. I mean, these are sort of clippable quotes, and I don't mean it to be, but I'm not sure Wilder. I'm not sure him and Wilder are seeing eye to eye is probably the best way to put it. He had some words on. He were questioned on this in one of the press conferences recently. I said recently, maybe about 4 weeks ago, and he said something about he needs to up his levels in training. He played for under-21s, didn't he, yesterday or the day before? So maybe he's not in the immediate thoughts. Not being on the bench at all and bringing Tom Davies on to play right wing was an eye-opener for me. Evil Twitter, says Rusty. Think we edged this one 2-1, says Jace. Up the Blades, up the full-time Ramble. Like and subscribe. Toddy says, need Holding Saturday to help with the set pieces. We definitely need Rob Holding on Saturday. I think so anyway. Joe says, did I hear him right that Brewster would be the best player at their club? Yes, you did. I wondered if anybody were going to pull that. I'm sure we could come to a deal. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. In for Jimmy Dunn. I'm going to say Jimmy Smith then. You don't want him playing centre half. Yeah, Brewster and Jimmy Dunn swapping directions. Sorry, Ian, the gatekeeper, Beast Boy. Rusty says, Cannon the new Brewster, but at least he was half the price. Nah. Crikey, that QPR fan is more optimistic about us than me. I know. And a bit sort of non-committal about his own team. But to be fair, I had to cut a lot of that out because we only wanted a fairly short video. But what I did say in some of the footage that on the cutting room floor, as they say, was that they've had quite an exciting season in different ways because, well, not exciting, but it's been a tale of two halves their season. They've been terrible for the first half of the season. Then they've turned it around second half, and they're enjoying playoff form at the minute, second half of the season, and they've just started to tail off a little bit. Hopefully, the right time for us. But that's what he was saying. Nipper says, "Come on, lads, give a thumbs up." Evening, Jimmy lad. Thank you, Nipper. Nice to see you, pal. Michael says, "I can't believe you're writing off the Blades' chances of finishing top of the league. The Blades have 5 points behind Leeds this season and have come back to be 1 point ahead of them. May happen again. It may do, Michael. I just don't think it will. And more power to you if you're optimistic that can happen. I just think the only thing I will concede on that point is we are underestimating how many games 12 games is. It's still a lot of games to play. It's more than a quarter of the season left. So on that point, I will concede to you that maybe I'm not giving us enough. But that would also mean Leeds, who are playing the best football anybody's played in this league at the moment this season. So they are on the best run of form out of that anybody has been this season in terms of the way that they're playing. Again, my opinion. But we have to bank on them losing at least twice and us matching their results and then bettering them with another 2 wins on top. I can't see it personally, but I don't think winning the league is the priority. Getting out of the league is the priority, Michael. For me, I would love to finish above Leeds, of course. I've got a lot on the line here, as a lot of you know. I think we'll edge this 1-2-1, says Jace. Yeah, I think you've put that already, pal. I did promise once you got to 6K, I'll come on and phone in, and I will do once my plastic surgery heals. No problem, Dip, no problem. The Anglo-Saxon says, Holding has to start Hamer in the 8 next to Sousa, Hamza at right back. That's not a bad shout, but is that harsh on Siddy Peck? I think Siddy Peck didn't put a foot wrong, did it? Neither did, Ben Brereton Diaz had a good game as well, I would say. So you could argue that point, and that's fair. Paul says, just watch that film when Saturday comes. Couldn't help thinking you could have used that Jimmy Muir versus Leeds. Jimmy, good luck against QPR. Thank you, pal. David says, like that team, and in my opinion, Burrows seemed more comfortable when Anelli's at left centre-back. I agree with that. That's a fair point. Evening, Jimmy, says Ian. Congrats on the 6K, 7K by Derby Day. Oh, that's a push, innit? That's a push, but why not? Head down and let's go for it. Well deserved, pal. Up all the rambles. PS Blades to win 3-0. Brewster hat-trick. Jimmy says, could do with some good news on Sariki. Whatever is going on with Brooks needs sorting. Up the blades, up the ramble. Thank you, pal. Nige says, Moore's got to come back with fire burning on his backside. Otherwise, he won't get game time for the rest of the season. So it's down to him now. It is down to him, no doubt about it. I wonder if we'll start, now that we've got 3 fit forwards who are rated at this level, I wonder if we'll start when Callum O'Hare starts to tire. And if we're 1-0 or less up, we might, or even, we haven't broke the deadlock or whatever. Oh, we might be behind. I think we'll potentially go to 2 up top during a game now. Kiefer Moore and Tom Cannon coming on for Tyrese Campbell, or whichever combination it might be. I think we might see more. I think he'll get more game time, and the 10 will sort of come out of the game later on, potentially. Shap Neal says, hi, Jimmy, love your content. Bit surprised your Burrows is the best left back in the league. On the night, Firpo was head and shoulder, literally, for his goal than Burrows, who James had on toast. Yeah, I can't argue with Firpo's performance. Certainly, he's on the attacking front. Burrows didn't have his best game for us. I would rather have Harrison Burrows. And I think it's an open conversation, isn't it? Scott says, good team with a lot of players. Right backs out can only be the only team we pick. Well, I think, to be fair, Scott, somebody's given us other options, haven't they? With Hamer in the 8, Brereton Diaz on the left, but I still want City Peck in my team. Maybe get Jeff on the bench for match day. Yes, maybe so. I may be inclined to rest Peck for Davis to give him more minutes. Yeah, fair as well. Paul Rose of Wellstone Landscapes. Thank you for your support, pal. 10% off if you go with one of his quotes and tell him you've got it from the Ramble. Now the Leeds loss is settled. I think we'll be fine Saturday, but I can't see Wilder dropping Captain Calamity, unfortunately. Paul's words, not mine. And yes, he's a sponsor of the channel, but he doesn't speak for the channel. Captain Calamity is not TM. He's not linked to the Ramble, I have to say that. Michael says Yorkshire is the biggest county in England. A crying shame there are no Yorkshire teams in the Premier. Well, there will be next year. Premier League needs Yorkshire representatives in the Premier League. Yes, it does. It'll certainly get at least one, won't it, Michael? Hopefully 2 next season. Up the Ramble, says Ian, giving a very generous super chat. Thank you, pal. Very much appreciated. Thank you for your generosity. It's people like you that make this possible, that I can go full time. And it's certainly not expected. I don't want that to be misconstrued. But people's generosity in signing up for the Patreon, but also everything you do to support us, liking, subscribing, it all helps. It all helps. And it contributes to our numbers going up and all this sort of thing. So thank you to everybody. Positive Jack says, I think this is a must win and I think we'll bounce back. Look at this, Jack. You're a new man. Play like we did first half. We'll take this easily. Dino says, for me, Cooper Chowdhury, Anel, Holding, hurts me to admit, Burrows, Raksaki, Peck, Souza, Diaz, O'Hare, and Campbell. Oh, so you're leaving Gus out. Really hurts leaving Jack out as he's done no wrong. I know, Dino. I know you've been a supporter of him, and that's been fair as well. But the team's got to move on. I agree. Brand says, congrats on the 6K, by the way, Jimmy. Thank you, mate. Started watching you when you had about 50 subs, and it's been fantastic to see the channel grow. I said it before, you're a natural at this. I'm blushing. Keep up the hard work, smashing it, pal. Thank you, Brand. Appreciate that, mate. Somebody put a comment in the chat today, in the Ramblers group, saying, not a canoe in sight. And some of you may get that, some of you may not. That'll test how long you've been with us. Ian says, just heard your Brewster comment. Can I take that super chat? Apologies, Ian. Apologies, yes. Bruce, give me a new contract. New deal for Ian. Jamie says, hoping we win on Saturday and West Brom beat Leeds on Saturday. Yeah. Michael says, Jimmy, I loved hearing your backstory and how you became a content creator and how you went full time. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. It was, again, like a lot of things, and I know I said it on the video, it wasn't a planned thing. I just went on and talked how about my story and stuff. So it might not be of interest to everybody. I understand that, but some people have asked for that sort of content as well. So thank you for taking the time to watch it. Wayne says, according to program Anel on 8 bookings, Vinny on 8 and Sid on 7. Let's hope we don't lose them at a critical time. Vinny's on fire at the moment. Up the Ramble, up the Blades, like and subscribe. Thank you, Wayne. But I thought at 30, I may be wrong on this. Just I've got something in my head that at 33 games, the second phase of Yellers gets wiped out again. So I might be wrong. I might be wrong again. So Phil says, hello again. Great show. My missus loves you. Thank you. Mrs. Ramble's out at the moment, but but the only thing is she hates football. Think we'll win 2-0. Always tough at Loftus Road. Well done on 6K. Thank you, mate. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. The Anglo-Saxon 66 says City is amazing, love him, proper adopted Blade, but got plenty of time to grow being as young as he is. Just think Hamer is too good not to start and can't drop BBD or Jez given the threat they pose. That's fair. And I think it's a good point you raised, mate, to be fair, in terms of your team selection. Jimmy with Clark in at right back. What happens to Alfie Gilchrist? Does he get sent back to Chelsea? From what I understand, he's already back with Chelsea. That doesn't mean that the loan hasn't been terminated. But the info that I got was he's being treated by their medical staff. He's packed up his stuff. He's gone back down to London. He's being treated at Chelsea for his ankle issue. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Prognosis was mid to end of April, which almost takes us to the end of the season. I don't know Clark's situation. Sariki is obviously, hopefully, returning to full fitness. I think it'll be Chowdhury at the weekend. Wish you well for Battle Lines. I don't envy you. Says, right, I can handle him, mate. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry. It'll be good, though. I encourage everybody to tune in. But I'm not going to take it from him. I'll be as gracious as I can be. But I think I've given Leeds enough plaudits. We are rivals at the end of the day. I still want to finish above you. I just think you've got to be fair when they play better than you, or they get the result that was deserved. You give them that. That's it now. That's it now. Everybody knows I was fair. I'm not. We're back. Evening, Jim says, Ev. Good evening, pal. Ian Brewster, come on. Thank you, David. Trying to speak some sense into the gatekeeper, but some people can't be helped, David, I'm afraid. Chasing Leeds as opposed to trying to stay in front of Burnley is the state of mind we should employ, Dino says. That's right, actually. We're better chasers, aren't we, than sort of fender offers. Up the blades, up the ramble. Christopher Colchin says, hi, Jimmy. Just checking this message comes through so I know what I'm doing. Up the blades, up the ramble. Christopher, any relation to Sam? I want to say. It's certainly come through your message. But Colchin is not a regular name. And I know we've got a young prospect in the youth team called, I'm pretty sure it's Sam. Apologies if it's not. I'll feel terrible if I've got it wrong. But there you go. I once prided myself on my football knowledge. Oh dear, oh dear. I also love Brewster, says Dave. I know you do. I know you do. Ev says, really disappointed about the Alfie news. Earlier on in the season, he was class. Such a passionate player for his age. A little bit like Peck. I heard they're best mates. Yeah, absolutely. Wouldn't surprise me at all if we went back in for Alfie. I think he's a good player. I think he hit a bad patch of form, needed to come out of the side like Wilder said, and that's fair, but I liked him. I liked him as a player, and I do like him as a player. Michael says, wow, Jimmy lad, 6K already for a relatively new podcast channel. That's some going. Congratulations. With all these new features on your channel, plus battle lines, we'll only see your channel grow. Thank you, mate. I'm working, I say I'm working hard for it. I'm on a lot. I'm putting a lot into it. But this ain't work, is it? We're talking about Sheffield United here. And yeah, there's a lot of bits that goes on that people don't see, but I love it. It's not a chore. I'm waking up with a smile on my face. My wife's happier because I'm happy. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a nightmare to be around anymore, hopefully. So yeah, things are going very well, and touch wood, long may it continue. But again, I genuinely believe it's a team effort. If we weren't all, having these conversations, if I didn't have anybody to talk back to, there'd be no channel, would there? So Chris says, well done on 6K, Jim. We'll bounce back, I'm sure, but only need to win 10 of the last 12 games. Only. I'd say 8. Oh, you mean mathematically. Plus, Leeds need to keep on winning because we'll chase them all season. Yeah, that's fair. Gus coming back from injury was ineffective on Monday, says Dino, so maybe feed him back in carefully. Don't want him out longer than necessary. That's a good point as well. Craig says, hi, Jimmy, liked your backstory. Good on you that you can trust your story with the Ramblers, up the blades, up the ramble. It's not a secret, mate. And I've always been, I like to try and be a bit open, not too open. I don't want it to be, somewhere where people come and think, oh no, we're in for a really heavy one here. But I don't shy away from the fact that I've had challenges around my mental health, and I think it's not spoken about. It is spoken about a lot more than it ever was, but I want there to be as many places that people can go and talk about it, or people that people can talk to, whether that's myself or somebody in the group or whatever it might be, where they feel comfortable that they can, even if they don't want to talk about their individual issues, at least they can be a part of something. So there's no secrets here, pal. It's not about trusting people. It's just about being open into it, because I think the amount of people that have approached me since I've done that video, and people that knew me before that sort of knew a little bit of my backstory, you will be really surprised at some of the people who you think are big, strong characters that have said, I've actually had something similar and I appreciate what you've said and things like that. So if you can help one person, it's one of them, in it, Craig? But thank you for your kind words, mate. Ipswich winning at Man United, says Michael, who's our regular scorekeeper. Thank you, mate. Rice says, make it spicy, Jim. It's good viewing. We Connor on battle lines. We never, this is true, we never force content, and certainly not on this channel. And Connor's never asked me to play up to anything or anything like that. It's just a genuine sort of conversation. But I'm not having it where he's just going to dig my club out and me personally and try and spin it that we're a joke, because we're not. We ran you boys really close on Monday night and we showed what we can do. If there were 20 games left, then I wouldn't be saying Leeds are going to win the league. I think you've hit form at the right time. You're a very good side. You're best team in league, and I don't mind saying that. But I just think, and again, 12 games. Am I selling us short that we can't be champions still? Don't know. We'll see. Congrats again, Jimmy, says Ray. Love all the formats. Team, I'm with you. Apart from the striker, put Brewster in. He will score. Joking. Well said, Ray. Craig says, just got over Monday night. Onwards and upwards. 2-0 to the Blades on Saturday. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, pal. Mark says, hi, Jimmy. Hope you're well, pal. Do you think Blades will win at QPR on Saturday? I can't see it. I was not happy on Monday night. I say 1-0 to the Blades on Saturday. I think we'll go down and we'll beat QPR. And I think we'll put in a really strong performance as well. I'll be surprised if we don't, put it that way. And I'm not normally, that's not being arrogant, because I think QPR are a good team. But I can see a strong 2-0. From Sheffield United, putting a bit of a marker down, saying that, look, we're going to move 5 points in front of Burnley. It's a real opportunity for us. And if we look at it that way, like we're chasing Leeds, like has been said already, I hope we can see the best of Cannon and hopefully more can make an impact up the Ramble, says Raymondo. Craig says, if we can juice that intensity again that we had on Monday, then our next 12 opponents can fear the worst up the Blades, up the Ramble. Completely agree. I were lucky enough to get on Football 11 earlier on, and they asked me same thing, and I said, if we play like that, we've nothing to fear, and it's a big if. It is a big if, but we've put in 2 very good performances now. Firstly against Middlesbrough, and second against Leeds in close proximity. If I'm QPR, I'm not looking forward to the game. With a defeat to Leeds, to restore the pride requires a double over the Owls in the Steel City derby to take the city of Sheffield and the bragging rights. Don't discount us for that, Michael. Don't discount us for that. We're here always for everyone, says David. Yes, we are. We are a brilliant community. Thank you. Nige says, don't think I can stand viewing Connor tonight on battle lines. I can take banter and all that, but I'm sure he goes up and I'm not going to finish reading that, Nige. I'm not going to finish reading that because, you know, we touch on some sensitive issues there. But going for 3-1 Den Blades, Cannon and Campbell. Once we go, every team, like the champions of Europe, will be 5 points clear of the 191 before they play 7 more wins. 7 more wins is probably, I think 8 more wins does it. 7 could. 7 could. Paul says, buenos noches, Jimmy. Got over my grief now. Congrats on the 6K. Thank you, mate. Onwards and upwards. Up the Blades. Up all the Rambles. Come on, you red and white wizards. Like and subscribe. Just do it. You know it makes sense. Craig says, hi, Jimmy. I meant to say that as a bloke, it's sometimes really hard for us to talk about things like that. So good on you that you can bring it all to our attention. Up the Blades. Up the Ramble. Thank you, mate. Thank you. And Chris, with our last comment of the night, I believe. Nice to talk. Nice you talk openly about your mental health, Jim. Perhaps you could invite Hull boy Marcus on Behind the Ramble for a chat. He's running the length of the country in aid of Mind. Just an idea. Would love to have him on. Would absolutely love to have him on. I think Marcus does a brilliant job. I do. I follow him. I see a lot of his stuff. So yeah, if anybody's got any contact details for him, he's more than welcome to come on. And Jason says there's a stigma around blokes talking about mental health issues. So good on you, pal. Yeah, but it's not just loads of people do. Loads of people talk about it, don't they? Now it's much more nationally. I don't think I'm doing anything particularly brave. I'm not doing anything that a lot of you guys and girls would probably do if you had the same sort of platform that we've built here. So I just want people to be able to feel comfortable. And that's why we encourage respecting the chat and sort of lifting each other up rather than pulling everything down. It's not a super happy sort of, you know, dancing through a field of lollipops all the time. And I'm not expecting that. It's not a hippy dippy sort of thing. It's more a case of let everybody be able to be comfortable to have their say. If you think I'm talking rubbish about Jack Robinson, I want you to be able to come on and tell me, but don't call me an effing so-and-so because I disagree with you. And we don't here, do we? So it's more about giving people confidence to get involved and feel part of something. Lots of love to you and all the Blades, says Chris. Thank you, pal. And on that note, I'm going to call it because I'm going to get ready. I'm going to go warm up, get some reps in for Connor on battle lines at 8 o'clock. I fancy us this weekend. I fancy us to go to QPR and get something, as I've already mentioned. Strong 2-0 I'm going for. Let me know your score predictions in the comments. Yeah, it's given me faith that we can still finish really strong this season. The performance on Monday night, I thought we were brilliant, as I've said, certainly for the first 30 minutes. We can do this, and we need to stick behind them. So shout out to everybody that's going to QPR, especially Paul, who's going to be doing the Ramble on the road for us. Very much appreciated. Thanks to everybody for joining me, and thank you for 6K. Absolutely unbelievable. We're on the road to 7 already. It's madness, absolute madness. So come on, you red and white wizards. Let's get back on that horse. All the blade!